Go.
So, as often the resident sports ball expert in most of my friend group rooms, I've done which animals are best included in various sports. From a purely scientific standpoint. Okay. So we're going to start off with areas to consider when deciding which animals go into the different sports. Strength. How strong or weak is your animal? Is it a very strong animal? Is it a weak animal? Is it too big or is it too small? Obviously, an elephant is going to be very different in the sport than, say, an insect. Threat level. Is the animal too threatening or too passive? So, is it something that is just going to inherently destroy the nature of the game because of the mixture of animals, say, playing? Cooperative. Will the animal be community-oriented or are they a cat? Because we all know cats do not give a fuck. Yeah, it's true. Additional areas to consider. Is the temperature of the event suitable to the animal? Are we talking about a winter sport? Are we talking about an outside sport? Are we talking about an indoor sport? Sturdiness. Is the animal squishable? Obviously, certain animals being mixed with other things would not be good additions because they're not going to make it very far. Gear. Does the sport require certain gear to participate? Will this animal be able to use or be in the presence of it? Will they pop your stuff? Will they break your equipment? And lastly, my opinion, which is most important. So we're going to start and we're going to explain how we're going to go. So our first example is football, the American sport in which the least amount of points are gained by the foot. Go Bills. Animals to not include in football. And then we're going to explain why each one is a bad football animal. Elephants. Elephants are way too large for football. They're going to destroy most other animals who are in their way. They're going to destroy your field. They're not going to interact with the equipment very well. This elephant is very sad to not be able to participate in American football. Spiders. Spiders, you know, they may bite you. They're very squishable, as we've said before, as other insects. So spiders are not a very good, they're also just squishable by the equipment in football. Cats. Again, this is a team sport. Cats are not very cooperative. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of cats being on football fields. They do not like it. They don't like baseball fields very much either. Sports photographers are wonderful whenever cats end up on the field, if you ever want a really good Google search. Porcupines. Porcupines are very spiky, kind of brings a natural threat to what the sport will be, bring injury, may hurt the equipment that we're using. The best animal to include in football is obviously the penguin. And it is very simple. Penguins are very oblong shaped. So if you were to punt a penguin, penguins are very similar to your football shape. They've got a nice weight to them. They're not too light. So as you know, shown here in the foot aspect of football, penguins will, you know, give you nice range. They're also, you know, with that weight, they're very easy to throw. So, comparatively to other animals, of course. So, penguins are obviously your best football animal. So, now that we've got it all down, yes.
They also probably would enjoy the flying experience. I think they missed that.
And truthfully, while penguins are associated with winter, most penguins in the world are actually in warm climates. So now we're going to go to baseball. So baseball, another American pastime. This is the Japanese snowbird. The Japanese snowbird is the most spherical of birds. It is very, like, ball-shaped, in fact. And it is pretty much the size of a baseball. So for baseball, the Japanese snowbird is, our best animal. Hockey. Quack, quack, quack. It is not the duck, but I felt like that should be included given the topic of the presentation. I went with the armadillo for hockey. Given that in hockey you use sticks and it's a much more aggressive of the sports, we needed an animal that was going to hold up to the play. So armadillos, they go into this little cocoon scenario when they roll into a ball, so they'll last longer in a game. Fishing. So I figured we should do lots of different kinds of sports. Team sports, individual sports. Sports is a very, general term. I find ESPN and things have things I would not consider sports like poker. But they do consider fishing a sport. So for fishing, the best animal to include is a bear. Because
not a fish?
Show anyway.
Hold up. It was a really cool picture of.
Of course. The cool pictures are the ones that aren't going to work. What computer are you using? Maybe it doesn't have.
It probably just didn't save the picture. It was a really cool picture of a bear eating a trout in the river.
I'm imagining it. It's pretty cool.
Oh.
You saw it?
Technical difficulties.
Please stand by.
Can I sit by?
No, you have to stand up.
Oh.
That way? No. Okay. Well, there was a cool picture of a bear. Very much catching a fish in the river. Track and cross country. So another very individualized sport. Also bears. Bears would help the players the most in track and cross country through motivation.
I feel like they'd help the other team more than they'd help their own guy.
Well, you don't have
It
to outrun
depends.
it.
I was gonna say, you just have to outrun the slowest
That's
of
true.
the track and cross country people.
Is there a specific bear that would be the best for this?
I find brown bears the scariest.
Oh,
That is what I
makes
used in
sense.
both pictures. They're also the most likely to be jackasses in true public. Them and polar bears. Black bears are generally very docile. You leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. Unless there's babies. Then everyone's screwed. Basketball. So, going based on the rest of it, I figured rather than just tormenting lots of birds, because that really kind of comes into the animals that are kind of ball-shaped and using for that, I went with kangaroo for this one. So we're going to replace a different piece of equipment. Replace the hoop. I'm sure as players they could bounce to where the hoop is. But yeah, nice replacement for the hoop here. Kangaroos for basketball. Croquet. Now I use this example. They used flamingos in Alice in Wonderland, which is not as super sturdy. I feel like you'd get one use out of a flamingo for croquet, truthfully. So I tried to think of like other animals you could use in different ways in sport. So I went with a snake. Snakes would be really good at replacing, the little markers there.
The wickets.
Yes. And hiking. Hiking is our last sport here. For hiking, I gave it a tie. So there's two animals that would be really good. I thought of fish, because dried fish are very good. But the answer is a cow, because beef jerky is truly the best thing to help you with hiking and help with your participation in hiking if you're going to hike for really long periods of time. And truly, in what world does everything not include beef jerky? Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
So for football, correct me if I'm wrong, but is a term for the ball not occasionally a pigskin?
Yes.
So would a pig not potentially be the best animal for football?
So in a pig is very large normally. I mean, I guess if you used a baby pig, you could.
Alternatively, you can use a football that is sourced from a pig. That's what I'm suggesting.
I wouldn't want to play a game made out of balls, human skin. So. Oh, pigs
Could
are
you
pretty
walk
good.
me through your scientific parameters that you listed earlier in your decision of a cow being good for the last sport of hiking?
Yeah. They provide really good nutrition and they dry really well to be able to eat at stable temperatures. So when you dry cow or fish, which is why I said there was a tie, there were just not really very good pictures of dried fish. They last long through different temperatures. It's one of the best hiking foods that is not plant-based, because we're talking about animals here. Because obviously you could sustain on nuts and berries and things like that, but if we're talking about animals that help you in hiking, that's where your cows are going to come into place.
Wouldn't you go through a lot of snowbirds as well?
You would probably go through a lot of snowbirds. I don't know if you've ever seen a baseball game. Also goes through lots of baseballs. They quick throw. The second like a baseball pretty much gets any kind of slick, they replace it. It's a very wasteful sport. Yeah.
So is there any differentiation between whether an animal is actually participating in a sport, like the bear is running in a race, versus being used as part of the equipment? And if they are being used as part of the equipment, do they get any credit when an award, say for example, the Appalachian sport of frog jumping? Does the frog get any credit in the prize, or just the guy that happened to find the frog?
Well, the bear isn't a participant, it's a motivator.
Oh, right.
It is still the people racing. The reason the bear is your best is that it's going to chase you and make you go faster.
Right, yeah.
You could give animals credit. Mascots get credit all the time. So, truly, what is the difference than that or just another animal participant? Yes.
So let's say you kick the penguin and then the penguin's beak gets lodged into that shape thing.
Goalpost?
The
Goalpost, thank you. It gets lodged in the goalpost. How many points is that?
It depends if it is over the goalpost or under the goalpost. And it
Like
depends.
right like into the horizontal bar of the goalpost.
So I'd say if any of it went above, that it would count.
Okay.
Now it depends when you're kicking it, because it is
Right.
1 point if it is after you get your touchdown. It is 3 points if it is separate from
Okay.
that. So, yes,
Does this mean Air Bud was a bad draft pick?
yes.
How will this affect events such as the Super Bowl's halftime show, the Puppy Bowl?
The Puppy Bowl is great. There's also a kitten one.
I know, that was the one my family likes. I just didn't remember if it was official or not.
Yeah. There are more participants there than helping with the sport. So the thought was that the humans are still participating in all these sports. So something like the Puppy Bowl or the Kitty Bowl, while wonderful experiences, are all animals. This is more like everything in America. How can we make the humans go further? Yes.
Do you think there's any potential for sports involving alligators in Florida?
Maybe surfing.
Because
But they would likely be a little too dangerous. Though in Florida, maybe not, because Florida men exist.
I went to Florida about almost a year ago now. And while we were there, me and my mother discovered a mini golf place where you could golf and buy beer and also feed baby alligators.
Aww.
They were part of the
Florida.
scenery.
Though maybe better than surfing would be where they pull you behind the boat.
Oh, yeah.
The water
Oh my
skiing.
god,
skiing,
yeah.
yeah.
And you're
Because
like, you're
My
skiing.
guess is if you just had to stand standing on an alligator, that would be much more unsturdy than
Yeah.
if you were being pulled with momentum.
Right.
And bear
Can we
sounds
get
a
an
good
alligator
motivator not to
lazy
fall.
river?
Yes.
Yeah.
You might enjoy this series of children's books that I have where Santa Claus tries to decide what would be the best animal to pull his sleigh, what would be the best animal to be an elf, and they go through all the Santa things. It's a cool series.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.